number if you want to text us. And thank you for that. Gave me a headache. If you want to email us, you can at talksport.net. Could you find some emails, do you think?
I'll have a look.
And possibly another coffee. We should have had some in the last hour, but you're so bloody lazy at the moment. Getting you off your big fat arse seems to be an almost impossibility.
I'm chilling, man.
No, you're chilling too much. You're chilling too much.
You can't chill enough.
And, well, I'll have some more coffee then. Now, in this part of the show, we are turning our attention to those who have travelled to the other side. No, my guest is not Derek Acora for the moment, the legendary medium. My guest in the studio is Michaell Roll from the Campaign for Philosophical Freedom. It's one of those nights. Michaell, welcome back. I understand that there have been some important developments since we last spoke.
Very important developments, James, because ever since we first met in Yorkshire TV, you quite rightly asked me, when are we going in with the cameras to repeat the experiments of Sir William Crookes? And I've been saying to you ever since then, it's timing, James, it's timing.
Now, just remind, because there'll be people listening who've never heard of you before, you have one huge fan, may I tell you, who writes to me nearly every day.
Oh, yes.
With different names.
I've got one.
Saying, when am I going to have you back on the programme? In fact, it annoys me so much, I probably haven't had you on for that reason until now. So, now, just go through these experiments. You've got to listen very carefully to what Michaell says, because Michaell says he's not religious in any way, shape or form. In fact, doesn't like religion.
I'm an atheist.
You're an atheist, aren't you? But unlike most atheists who feel that when you die, all there is just nothing, and you know, that's the long sleep, you don't believe that at all?
I don't go along with this at all, no. I accept survival because it's been proved beyond any shadow of doubt. And I'm not interested in evidence. We've had evidence of survival for thousands of years, all this chit-chat.
We better do a bit of an interview for people who haven't heard you before, and then come back to where we are. So, when did you first begin to realise there was evidence for survival after death?
Luckily I was born into it. My mum showed me this suppressed discoveries in physics, and right from the word go, I knew it.
When you say suppressed discoveries in physics, Michaell, sort of explain what that is.
We've had the experimental proof of survival after death for well over 100 years now. International teams of scientists have repeatable experiments under laboratory conditions proving survival after death. People who once lived on Earth come back in the physics laboratory and prove to these international teams of scientists that they have survived, where all 5 senses are working. Catch hold of me, feel me, talk to me.
So why are we not aware of this?
Well, that's very simple, because it means the total collapse of the religious and scientific establishments of the world. Nobody is ever going to grovel before a priest again. Nobody's going to ever take notice of so-called holy books, because there aren't any holy books. All these books that are meant to be the Word of God are written by priests to keep priests in the manner to which they are accustomed.
Okay, so... all right,
and also, the whole of orthodox science collapses, because that starts from when you're dead, mate, you're dead. So they've joined forces. The religionists have joined forces with the materialists to make sure the people don't find out we have the scientific proof of survival after death.
But if you have these scientists who have proved in their laboratories, and I'm not absolutely sure how in their laboratories they can prove this.
Well, because people come back, and I'm talking about repeatable experiments.
You mean they've sat a medium down in a lab?
You've got to have a go-between, like a television set. You can't see your invisible signals hitting your area, or without the medium, your television set. But if you want to contact people in the invisible part of the universe, you've got to work with what is known as a materialization medium. And they're the only type of medium that can prove survival.
Have you seen this?
Yes, indeed. Luckily, I witnessed it in 1983, because by that time the missing mathematics was coming through. The main reason these scientists didn't break through 100 years ago was because we didn't have the mathematical theory to back up what they were witnessing.
And what is the mathematical theory?
Well, we've got to know what they're made of. What's our soul made of that separates from the physical body? And they couldn't write the equations on the blackboard to say, well, we know we've got 2 bodies, one that packs in, as we know, but there's another body that separates from the physical body, and we can now say it's made of this.
And what is it made of?
Finer subatomic particles than the protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up our physical bodies.
Which we can't see anyway.
No, you can't even see through the most powerful microscope. Once we realise we're made of invisible stuff, it's no longer fantastic to have something invisible break away from the physical body.
But then, I mean, presumably we don't have flesh and blood in these other bodies?
Oh, no, they're adamant. You only need food and water to keep the physical body going.
Sure.
They've got totally different laws of physics in the invisible part of the universe.
I mean, it is true, isn't it? The scientists are now working on this different science. Subatomic...
Subatomic physics means the study of the invisible part of the universe.
Yeah.
And that is where the etheric world is, what the religionists call the spirit world. There certain parts of religion are right, and we even though I'm an atheist, I concede that they are right about us having a soul. We all survive death, not just Christians. Everybody survives death.
So when you say you saw this happen in 1983, why have you... I mean, you've never seen it happen since? You've never
Well, no, because it was my fault that the medium was destroyed, because I was very naive in 1983. I saw that we had another one of these great mediums as on the scene again. The last great one we had was Helen Duncan. She was killed in 1956 by a police raid. Now, if she was a fraud, she wouldn't have been killed. But ever since then, we've been waiting for another one to come on the scene, and in 1983, we had a materialization medium called Rita Gould, who was 100 times better than Helen Duncan. She had as many as 6 recently deceased people fully materializing and walking around the room.
Now, because we have on the show a guy called Derek Akora, who is...
He's a mental medium.
Yes, clairaudient and very funny, very entertaining.
Yeah, they give evidence. They don't give proof.
And you're saying that these other mediums, and there aren't many of them, they can actually bring somebody back into a full sort of material...
Oh, absolutely. They don't bring anything back. They're a totally passive instrument in the corner of the room, and the scientists in the etheric world, in the spirit world, if you like, have the technology to teleport people in the vicinity of that medium back into the room.
And
nowhere near the medium.
You've seen this?
Oh, yes. Quite a few of my colleagues have also seen it as well.
Tell me what happened then. Tell me where you were.
Well,
what happened?
It was in Leicester. This lady was demonstrating, and I went up and witnessed
19 years ago.
Yeah, after I saw a number of reputable journalists had witnessed it, and I thought, blimey, this is it. This is what we need. We've got to get this medium straight into the physics laboratory with modern, sophisticated equipment. The pioneers didn't have infrared cameras and laser cameras, and they didn't have the missing mathematics that we've now got. So we've got to repeat the experiments that have already been done.
Just give us a flavour of what you're sitting in this room with this woman.
Yeah.
How many of you?
Just the
you
two, and Barry and Pat Jeffries,
right?
And the medium Rita Gould and myself.
Now, what happened?
She goes into trance within a few seconds of her going into trance. As many as 6 people suddenly fully materialised, walking around the room.
Can you speak to them?
They're as solid and as natural as you are, and they can
speak. You can touch them?
Absolutely. All 5 senses are working.
Do you remember who they were?
Yeah, they were all recently deceased, so we checked them all out. We got all their relations there. Mothers have been reunited with their dead children. A lady from Holland came across. Her dead son fully materialised, and they spoke in fluent Dutch to each other.
Why aren't you on every chat show or writing in every magazine? Why haven't you written a book about this?
Well, I have now got my website, and the whole thing is on my website. And now, as you know, since our last broadcast last June, I've got the scientists that I need to go in and do the experiments. I didn't have a scientific team before.
But you do need a materialization medium,
You can't prove survival without a materialization.
Have you got one now?
No, we've put the word out across the whole world on the internet, and as soon as we get one, I'll call in Professor Peter Wadhams.
Why are they so difficult to find?
Well, because I suppose because most of them were murdered. I mean, in the Renaissance, they started rubbing out all the mediums because they're a great danger to the priests. Because whenever we speak to somebody in the next world, they say, oh no, there's no place here reserved for Christians or anybody else. We all survive death. Now, the priests know this, so that's why they've been killing them.
What happened with the woman then, I've forgotten her name, the medium?
Yeah, well, I was so thrilled to find a medium like this, and the first thing I did was manage to get hold of a professor of astrophysics called Professor R.G. Roy, and I handed the whole thing over to him because he's got the technology that we need. But unfortunately, I was very naive in 1983, and I should never have given this any publicity. All the time this lady was demonstrating to spiritualists, she was no danger at all to the establishment, because the spiritualists were going there and treated it just like going to bingo or something instead of the greatest scientific discovery in history. As soon as the establishment heard, the religious establishment and the scientific establishment heard that I had got a professor of astrophysics to go in and film it all, the medium's life was threatened. They said, if you go ahead with these experiments with Professor R.G. Roy, we'll not only kill you, we'll kill your family. And so she backed out on us. It wasn't the
Not surprised.
Yeah,
Because you have no proof of that, so you couldn't do anything about it.
no. Well, what we've done now is we've learned by that terrible mistake. And as soon as I get another medium, I'll call in Professor Peter Wadhams from Cambridge University. He's a physicist, and nobody will know. I'm not going to even tell my closest friend.
You reckon that the media have put a ban on you?
Well, because it's so horrendous. Once people find out that we have the scientific proof of survival,
They could just think you're a crank.
no, because
And I mean, I like to talk to people who are considered to be cranks, so
Right.
they might just think, oh, well, that's just Whale doing the usual sort of ridiculous stuff.
but if you look on my website, I'm only pushing the work of the greatest scientists and philosophers who have ever lived. I've got 2 professors of physics from Cambridge University have now backed me.
What is the website? We can check that out while we're listening.
It's on
www.cfpf.org.uk. Okay, right.
And then they're going to have to destroy these scientists who I'm pointing at. It's nothing to do with me at all, James. I'm only the messenger.
You just don't want anybody coming and shooting you. I know, right? Okay.
I don't mind.
Listen. Okay, we've got to take a break. Just before, I want to know what it was like. You're in this room, and then this person that died a while ago comes back.
As many as say. Well, first of all, Helen Duncan materialised.
Hang on. We'll take a break. We'll do it after
okay.
this.
Talk Sport Singles Connect James Well.
Okay, welcome back. Michaell Roll from the Campaign for Philosophical Freedom is with me tonight. Michael has been on this program many times. He is a man who is striving to get the proof that life continues after death. He is not a religious man. He's a man who believes that it is a scientific fact that we carry on. If you just joined us, you can check out his website at www.cfpf.org.uk. cfpf.org.uk. He is in the middle of telling me about witnessing the materialization of people after they died. Now, let's go through this again. Right, you're sitting in this place with this medium, one of the few, and if there's anybody out there who can do full material, what do they call them?
Materialisation medium.
Yeah, get in touch.
Yeah, and then we'll get the scientists in.
And he'll give you a different identity so nobody can find you. But apparently nobody wants us to know this. Right, so there we are. You're sitting in this room, and these people come back.
Well, first of all, one person
Did your mouth drop open? Or
No, because I know my friends have witnessed it before, so I was expecting what was going to happen, and I read the subject right from birth, so I knew it was...
Were they wearing clothes?
Yes, we're allowed to touch them. They're exactly dressed exactly the same as you are. Some had earrings, the ladies had earrings.
Do they buy? Do they have... how does it work wherever it is?
The scientists in the etheric world have the technology to teleport people back to Earth. All we can do is observe and report. We haven't got that technology.
I can understand maybe being a place where your mind survives or things like that. But what I can't understand and grasp is this kind of physical appearance that you say people can have.
Somehow or other, we don't know how they do it, but they can reproduce their old physical bodies for recognition purposes, including fingerprints. Because if you read John Logie Baird's book, he tells how fingerprints were taken of somebody who materialized, compared to the dead physical body, and they were identical. That's proof of survival. That's enough to hang somebody in this country only a few years ago, as you know, James. Anyway, Helen Duncan fully materialized, and she was killed in 1956 by a police raid. And before I went there, she'd already been checked out. The scientific exercise had been done. One of my colleagues had got her daughter there to meet her mum. And he said, well, have you been talking to your mum for an hour? Yes, I have. It's definitely my mother, beyond any shadow of doubt.
And do these people from the other side, do they sit down?
Yeah, they can
sit. Can they float?
They can play instruments. They can do anything. And they can override our laws of physics. They showed me, they took a physical drumstick, banged it on the physical table and said, right, watch, Mike. And they put the physical drumstick through the physical table. I thought, my goodness, thank goodness I'm on their side and not fighting them if they've got this power. But but the main thing, they're recently deceased people, so we can get all the relations there to check them out.
So, I mean, do you age over there? Is it...
Totally different laws of physics. You only have babies and old people on Earth for our physical bodies. They don't have that. And when the 9-year-old boy materialized, because he died at 9 with cancer, he's been reunited with his mum on something like 50 repeatable experiments. When I spoke to him, he says, Mike, I'm coming back as the 9-year-old boy that my parents are expecting. But when we get over here, we can change our etheric bodies to be young or old. They're not locked into our laws of physics. Totally different laws of physics.
So the body that we have, the spirit, if you like, for want of a better word,
the etheric body.
The etheric body that we have is made up of
Well, we're made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and their bodies and their world that they live in are made of much finer subatomic particles, which Ron Pearson has discovered, as you know.
And are these subatomic particles within us now?
Yes, because the etheric body is attached to our physical body. All the time the physical body is alive, that is driving it. Without that life force, your physical body wouldn't exist.
Okay, so where is this other place? I mean, is it on this planet? Is it on another planet?
It's the whole of the universe. The invisible universe is the etheric world, and that's where everything is coming from. There was no Big Bang at a single point in time. This is why it upsets the scientists so much. Everything, galaxies, planets, suns, are all coming from the invisible part of the universe. That is the source, that's the energy source, the invisible part of the universe.
Is this then a sort of, I mean, God, it's very difficult to get your head round this, Michael, I always think, because this isn't what we've been told, this isn't how we've been, I'm gonna have to spend some time thinking about it. What I'll do now, lots of people want to talk to you, so we'll take some calls.
Right.
And see how we go. Ash, do me a favour, I don't want any real crackpots, because I'm not in the mood, all right?
No crackpots.
Good. Francis in Leicester, you're on the air. Hello, Francis.
Hello, I just wanted to ask your guest, James. I realise that the matter of the body once you die, and you can call your people forward with mediums, but if you go to the other side, when you die yourself, does this matter that you're made of, do your mother and father relate to you when you go to the other side?
Yeah, but they tell us it's all hearsay, but they say it's very much like this world. You don't get any terrible shocks. As soon as you get into the next world, a lot of people don't even know they're dead.
But I mean, what Francis is saying, I think, Francis, if I understand you right, is would she be able to find her mum and dad?
The mum and dad will be waiting for you. My dad didn't go along with this, but I watched him die in our front room, and just before he died, he turned to my mum and said, I can see my mother and father at the bottom of the bed. They're waiting for me.
I see.
You never die alone. There's always somebody there to meet you.
I just wondered if, because of the matter material you're talking about, if the matter met the matter at the other side and they recognised each other.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, you don't have to rest in peace waiting for Judgment Day. You're immediately reunited with your loved ones when you pass over.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye, Francis.
Bye-bye.
You're absolutely convinced of this, aren't you? You're absolutely... you spent a lot of your life...
I was convinced before I took part in these experiments because I'd read the work of these great scientists who proved survival. Scientists of this calibre, you've got...
I'm reading an article you brought in from the Daily Mail last October.
Last October, yeah.
By Maverick Professor Brian Josephson, who believes that his research may explain spooky goings-on. And it says, mention telepathy or extrasensory perception to most scientists and you will meet with spluttering indignation and rage. They are adamant that it is impossible for people to read minds, move objects, etc., etc. But apparently this man, Brian Josephson, believes now that you can.
This is a Nobel laureate for physics. He's not a maverick professor. He's an orthodox scientist who now realize that the teaching of orthodox science is totally incorrect because they've been locked into Einstein's theory of relativity, which is hopelessly out of date. And the worst thing of all is the Big Bang theory. But these are sacred cows of science, and even to challenge them is heresy.
Okay. Let's talk to Vince, who's on the M1. Hi, Vince.
Hello, James.
Yeah.
Is it Simon? Sorry, what's his name again?
Michael.
Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Vince.
Where do you stand on regression?
I'm not too sure about reincarnation. What I'm pushing is the proof.
You said regression.
Yeah, well, that's regression.
Yes,
it's the same sort of thing, going back to past lives. That's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, everybody I've spoken to who's taken part in these experiments from the next world, getting it straight from the horse's mouth, they don't know anything about reincarnation. I spoke to somebody who was killed in the First World War, Raymond Lodge, the son of Sir Oliver Lodge, and he says, I don't know anything about coming back to Earth, Mike. So that's straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay. But what, I'm trying to get around this now. How would everyday life sort of go on the other side? Is it a case of everyone just sort of, sounds rather ludicrous, but does everyone just sort of float around?
Well, no, I'm only putting the proof of survival, but when we ask them questions, the answers to those questions become hearsay. Now, I'll tell you what I asked Raymond Lodge sitting next to me for an hour or so. I said, I'm a sportsman. I can't imagine a place without rugby, cricket and golf. I said, do we play our sport in the next world? He said, of course we do. What makes you think we don't, Mike? He says, but I tell you what, when you get over here, you'll soon get fed up chasing after a ball, because you've got so much to do over here, so much knowledge to gain, and so much to do helping people back on Earth with the work you've done. You'll try and find another medium to work through and carry on your work. You see.
Do I understand from this? Okay, Vince, thanks for...
Thanks, James.
It's a bit noisy with your truck, but take it easy,
right.
Vince. Thanks for calling. Bye. Do I take it, then, that it isn't easy for the people who live in the ethereal world? What we have to think of something to call it.
The etheric world.
All right, the etheric world. It's as difficult for them to come and communicate with us as it is for us with them.
Yeah, they've got to find this medium if you want to actually go on a one-to-one basis with their own voices. Yes,
Yeah.
if you can. But they come through mental mediums.
Yeah.
Some mental mediums are exceptionally good, and they can act as interpreters between our world and the next.
I mean, I don't like to plug, of course, Derek Okora all the time, but he certainly seems to have a knack. I mean, I interviewed Doris Stokes and Doris Waters, not Doris Waters, Doris Collins and Doris Stokes, and they both had, I don't know what they were doing, whether it was they were actually in contact with people from the other side or not, but certainly a lot of people seem to think they were.
Well, if it was your dad, he would hit you with family code words, and you would know very well if it's your dad or not. When my mother was dying, we set up special codes. I said, if you've got anything urgent to say, Mum, from the next world, hit me with these codes. The phone went in May 2000, and a medium says, I got your mum here. I said, right, now prove it's my mum. Hit me with the codes we set up. And she did. The message from Mum was, for goodness sake, get on the internet. And that's changed my life completely, getting on the internet.
And your mum got you on the internet?
Well,
I told you to get on.
To get on. And the next day, an internet whiz kid phoned me from Germany and did the whole thing for me, totally free of charge. It would have cost about $50,000 to do what he's done with my website.
Right, now we've got Will, who is listening at Harrow School at the moment. Will, hi.
Hi there, James.
Yes, Will.
Yeah, I was just ringing. I'm kind of doing A-level physics at the moment, and it's odd to kind of hear all these paradoxes that you're saying. I mean, you're saying there's different laws of physics that apply to them, yet at the same front you're saying that mathematicians suddenly made a physics breakthrough in order to create the medium, in order for people to appear. I mean,
there had to be a rational explanation mathematically to account for these experiments. Every experiment, as you know, must have a mathematical backup. We've now got the missing mathematics that our pioneers lacked. That's where we are at the moment.
So the mathematics justifies how matter can suddenly exist and teleportation can happen as you described.
Absolutely, yes. And when you look at my website, you'll see it, and Ronald Pearson's work's been peer-refereed and published by physicists in Russia and in America. All the references are there for you to check out.
But this goes against conventional thinking that's taught even at A-level. I mean, something that groundbreaking would make headlines immediately.
I know, that's why, James...
Why hasn't it?
Because it means the total collapse of the orthodox scientific teaching, and we're up against huge amounts of money here.
But science wants to progress. Any discovery it welcomes. Why would it want to damn it?
Well, you want to tell that to Galileo. It wasn't only the priest who wouldn't look through his telescope, it was his fellow scientists. They all had their vested interests, the same as they have now. We're up against huge amounts of money here. Every single scientific textbook in the world will have to be rewritten.
I'll tell you what, Will, let's just look at the possibility that what Michaell says is right, okay?
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
And imagine that what Michaell is saying, and you must check his website out because you will understand it much more than me if you're doing this at www.cfpf.org.uk. Check it out and you can let me know sometime. But just imagine if he was right. could you see how everything would be affected? I don't actually know that it's a good thing for people to know that they survive this physical state. Well, I'm actually thinking about the fact that there are some people who have such a bad time will think, well, I'm going to get out of this life and go on to the next one now.
Well,
we'd have people jiving off bridges and buildings.
No, because when we speak to people in the next world, they say you're liable for your actions. And if you do that, you're going against natural laws, I reckon.
Right, okay.
I won't want to go until my physical body packs in.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, a lot of vested interests for us to feel that we have to toe the line, would be done away with. Society would change forever if this was proven as a fact.
But people welcome the idea of meeting people from who have died.
Well, but nobody actually welcomes that sort of change of the total, complete and utter change of everything we think about.
Well, these people are being paid for their expertise, and suddenly they found out that what they've been teaching is all wrong. They're going to be made to look stupid. So if they can block it for as long as possible, they will, and they have. It's not.
But I mean, a lot of scientists though would, if this could be proved to them. I mean, a little, you know, going with Will a little bit here, actually, Michael. I mean, what scientists can have new theories proved to them. Surely that only helps them.
Well, Professor Richard Dawkins, who's a fellow atheist, he's written to me and says, right, I'm going to have to take part in one of these experiments, and then I'll have to do a complete U-turn on what I say, because Dawkins starts from orthodox science. When you're dead, mate, you're dead.
And he wants to do one of these.
Oh, yeah. The scientists who will be carrying out these experiments will invite people like Dawkins in to take part in the experiments. Yeah.
But if there was an actual mathematical proof, as you say, all it would take is this paper to be published.
It has been published.
And if it has been published, then, you know, if it's a proof, then no matter how much skepticism there is, no matter how much resistance, it will have to be accepted.
Well, you better tell the Society for Psychical Research in Great Britain, because they've officially censored it. Even though it's been published in Russia and America, the Society for Psychical Research in Great Britain has officially censored Ronald Pearson's paper that has been published.
There must have been some assumptions or some flaw within the proof in order for them to do something. It was flawless.
No, they just said the reason we're not publishing it is because you've challenged Einstein's theory of relativity, which is not allowed to be challenged. It's as simple as that.
But scientists today are challenging that all the time. That's how science progresses, by imagination. Science doesn't condemn new theories, it welcomes them.
Well, if you can find any flaws in Pearson's work, let us know, because nobody else has found any flaws yet. Certainly not the...
I think they have. It's just you're choosing to ignore them.
Will you listen, Will, do me a favour, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd be very, very grateful if you would check out what Michaell Roll claims on his website.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoy that, yeah.
And I will get Ash to give you our private number to ring us back and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Will you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Stay on the line. Will you take Will's number?
And give that private number to Harrow School.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I mean, Eton have got our private number, so I won't worry about that too much.
Eton's Eton.
Yeah, thanks, Will. But he's got a very good point, though, because, you can't hide something like this forever. You can't.
No, because
you've definitely got the proof, the mathematical equations that prove that we have a soul. What we're basically wanting to prove first, though, surely, is that there is a part of us that we hadn't realised there is. I mean, we all know we can think and...
Oh, that's been proved by these repeatable experiments by international teams of scientists. That's been done.
Right, okay. And now what you're saying is when our physical body snuffs it, this sort of subatomic particles that make up the sort of soul, which is the body, think of it, I suppose, like the body within the body.
Yeah.
Okay? This part of you isn't able to function until the physical body goes.
Then you go back to where you came from, the invisible part of the universe. It's the life force that drives the physical body. Without that etheric body and mind, you wouldn't be a...
What about, tell me about newborn babies. You don't believe that there is, are these new souls created, that we are the breeding area for the whole of it?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that somebody has plugged in, when our parents get together, they make a physical spacesuit for somebody to join from the next world, from the etheric world.
Oh, so they come back as well, we come back as well as go out?
They plug into the physical spacesuit when the male sperm enters the physical egg.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, where is that... Yeah, I mean, is this a soul that's coming back?
No, it's just a soul getting an experience on Earth. They say you have to come to Earth because you get the contrast of good and evil on Earth, which you don't get in the etheric world.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together.
I see.
People have left bombs in crowded pubs. Ain't going to be mixing with normal, decent people over there.
I hope
But they are on Earth. We're all mixed up with these nutters, as you know.
So is there a hell? Are you saying there's a hell?
Well, they make your own. You make your own hell. If you've hijacked an airliner and driven it into a skyscraper, that's your hell when you pass over.
What happens then?
Well, they ain't going to be mixing with normal, decent people. They're going to be mixing with people like that, nutters like themselves.
So you mix with the people that you used to mix with?
Yeah, as you think, so you attract. Nice people on Earth will mix with nice people. You'll be reunited with your dad.
What about dogs and cats and pets? That
Well,
we'll love?
they're
I mean,
adamant that we're immediately reunited with our pets, but we'll have to do these experiments where the pets come back in the laboratory as well. We haven't done that yet.
because I was sitting the other night watching my dog, Little Frisbee, having the most, obviously a dream. I mean, you can just, so what?
He's a thinking thing, you see.
Well, you see, so obviously something's going on in
That's
the
right.
animal's mind.
Well, they're adamant that all our animals are there waiting to greet us when we go over, which is very nice.
Okay. If you want to talk to Michaell Roll, if you can understand what he's talking about, 08704 20 20 20, the lines are open. If you want to check out the website, cfpf.org.uk. Michael, are we all right?
No, we've got a break.
Oh, we've got a break. We'll come back right after this.
UK's best sports radio station. Talk Sport.
Okay, welcome back. Michaell Roll from the Campaign for Philosophical Freedom is with us. Michael has devoted his life, a lot of it, to proving the existence of life after death. He isn't a medium himself. He isn't religious in any way, shape or form. He believes that it is a proven fact now. It's just a question of getting people to admit it and getting the press, apparently, who he feels are operating a campaign to keep this a secret for some reason. Have you never been invited on the Esther Rantzen show?
Yes, Pearson was actually on the Esther Rantzen show, and they stuck him behind the cameras and gave him one line at the end of the programme, and he was immediately screamed down by the bloke next to him.
Really? Oh, right, well, that sounds like the Esther Rantzen show, doesn't it? Let's take some more calls. June is in Carlisle. June, you're on the air. Hello. Hello, June.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hello, June.
I wanted to know if it made a difference whether you were cremated or buried.
Not in the slightest.
Because that was worrying me.
No, not in the slightest.
Because one of my husbands was buried and the other one was cremated.
No, the etheric body separates completely as soon as the physical body conks out.
Oh, the soul.
Here's an interesting thing. Hang on, June. June's got two husbands on the other side. What happens when she goes over there?
Well, it depends if they like each other. I mean, my mum wasn't very fond of her husband, so I don't expect they'll be meeting up.
You might be torn between two lovers, June.
Yes, I was very pleased when he said about the dogs, because I've got 5 up there.
I've got a whole stack of cats waiting for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes, the bond of love apparently is very powerful.
There was a lot of love.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
June.
thank you very much.
Thank you for your call.
Bye.
What do the pets do? I mean, it's years since some of my pets have died. I mean, what have they been doing all this
I expect
time?
other people have been looking after them. My mum will be looking after my cats who have passed over since she passed over.
Okay. Have you got clothes and weather or not? I mean, could I do a radio show and wind people up or?
Yeah,
Well,
sure you can.
Is there any form of entertainment or?
Yeah, everything. You have entertainment. Like Lauren Hardy will still be making them laugh over there.
Language?
Apparently, this is. They are all, when they come through, they speak in all different languages, but over there they read minds, apparently. That's only hearsay. Don't forget, I'm only pushing what's been proved.
All right. Let me go back again, because just tell me when you met these people from the other side. I mean, was there any smell? Was there any...
Yeah, all 5 senses are working. So you've got touch, taste, smell, everything.
Yeah, but what do they smell of?
Well, the opera singer that came up and sang a gorgeous aria to me, catching hold of my hand, smelt of perfume.
Yeah.
Beautiful perfume.
And did any of them sit down and say, look, you really must look forward to this because it's great being old?
Yeah, I sat next to Raymond Lodge, who was killed in the First World War. 6'5" of him, huge, great bloke. And he says, you feel my head now, Mike. I was blown off in the First World War by a shell, and it's perfect. He's all right. I was allowed to touch his... And he had a full First World War uniform on.
But he was wearing that purely so that people would recognize him?
Just for recognition purposes.
Okay. Joe in Chelmsford, you're on the James Whale Show, speaking to Michaell Roll.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Joe.
Michael.
Hiya.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to mention on that, I can't really subscribe to what you're saying because I don't understand it.
No, you've got to check it out first, you see.
I do like Sigmund Freud, and an apprentice of Sigmund Freud. He later got to dislike him, but he's a well-respected psychologist in his own right. Carl Augustus Jung, he confirms, and he's very much into what you're saying. And there's a book, Dreams and Reflections by Jung.
Yeah.
Anybody who's into your sort of stuff, who wants a psychological point of view from it, would love him.
What does it say?
It's very much into that spirit type of thing, and when you die, you take your intelligence with you, and you go into the sort of person that you are, you mix with the people you are, and you can come back with this physical type of form. We call them archetypes.
Well, I've had no end of psychologists doing a U-turn and coming with us since my website's been going to 2 years now, and some of them have given me quite large donations. Professors of psychology are coming with us. Yeah.
Are you aware of Jung?
Yes, I'm aware, but we've progressed a great deal since that time, you see.
Do you like Jung?
Well, I like the idea of surviving death, and yeah, I do.
The thing you have to understand, Joe, about Michaell Roll is he is single-minded, and this is a mission for him. I think I'm putting it...
only to present the case, not to sell it. Once it's presented, I want to go back and play golf and mix with normal, decent people.
So go on.
The women, when they get into psychology, they tend to like Jung as well, rather than Freud.
Well, I'm very glad for them as well. Thank you, Joe. Ian in Edinburgh, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi. I've got a couple of questions. One is, did you actually find out what the experience of dying is like from anyone you spoke?
Well, it's very much like this out-of-body experience and near-death experience. They just sort of wake up in another wavelength completely, and most people I've spoken to find it very exciting because they're always met by their loved ones, so it's a perfectly natural thing. Going down a sort of...
And do you think some people thought that it was just a dream? Because, I mean, you know...
Yes,
you're just going into a dream
state.
Yeah,
but once you meet your dad, you'll know very well that you've passed over, won't you, Sir James?
Okay. Yeah, well, no, I mean, listen...
they say their world is as solid and as natural to them as ours is to us.
And one more thing. Do you believe in evolution as such?
Oh, yes, certainly I do go along with the evolution, but I'm querying it. You always must challenge it. I'm not happy about us coming from apes, because the apes are there, they're beautiful creatures. When does an ape turn into a human? There's a missing link there, and I'm quite happy to think about that.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Ian. Bye.
Bye.
Let's have all the Ians on. Ian in Barnes, you're on the air. Hi, Ian.
Good evening, James.
Yes, Ian.
How are you?
Good.
Good, yeah. Now, Michaell, sorry, what's his surname?
Roll.
Roll. Now, sorry, I have a bit of problems with my mouth at the moment, but I hope you can understand me.
We can hear you, yes.
Yep. Well, to be quite honest, Mr. Roll, I'd far rather listen to a lot of good soul music than to the bollocks that you're spouting, to be quite blunt with you.
Ian, do me a favour. Don't ring again, will you? Whether your mouth is working or not, I'd rather not hear from you again. I'm sorry, he's completely mad as a March hare. Michael in London, you're on the air. Hello.
Oh, hello, James. How's it going, all right?
Yeah, good.
Oh, hello. Is that Michael there, please?
Hang on, Michael, just 1 minute, hold on. Ash, wherever you are, go back to where you are supposed to be. He's practicing his out-of-body materialisation and disappearing on me again. Yes, Michael, hi.
Oh, hello. Is that Michael there, please?
Yes, I'm speaking to you.
Hello. Yeah, I do agree with you on some parts. I have seen a few clairvoyants, but some of them are accurate, but they're not all accurate, because they seem to do ducking and diving, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. This is why I'm only pushing materialisation mediums. They prove survival.
Can I ask you something else as well? If you're an elderly person, right, and, well, you pass over, can you go back to your original state as though you were 21?
Well, when this 9-year-old boy materialised, he says, Well, I can change my etheric body. I'm coming back as a 9-year-old boy my parents lost, and when they pass over, I'll greet them as a 9-year-old boy, but we can change it. People walk around here as 25-year-olds in their prime.
Right. Is there night and day there?
Apparently not, no.
Apparently, so...
Apparently not, no.
Oh, so,
no.
So what does it actually look like?
Well, they say it's a world of light, but we'll have to wait until we get there to find out if that's
right.
true. Our sun doesn't register in their wavelengths.
Right.
A powerful thing like the sun doesn't even register in it.
Are there seas and that? I presume so.
Apparently there's a beautiful... it's a very beautiful place, the hearsay is.
I mean, I'm kind of worried about going over there, you know.
Well,
I'm not a bad person. But,
you don't want to go over there for a while. I mean, if you can avoid it.
No.
You know, make the most out of this one, and then you've got another...
Well, you needn't be worried, Mike. If you haven't left a bomb in a crowded pub or flown an airliner into a skyscraper...
I want to ask you something, just quickly, right? I'm into Hammer films and that. You know all these so-called evil people, do they have to retell their stories night after night?
No, apparently the hearsay is that everything is recorded on time, and they sit down and see what they've done, and they suffer appalling remorse if they're that way inclined.
Right.
But some couldn't give a sod, and they don't suffer remorse, so they just have to wait. But they ain't going to improve. They're going to stay down among the rubbish.
Right, I see.
But if you want to do a U-turn, you'll never be let down. Somebody from the higher wavelengths will come down and help you. But
right.
You've got to start helping other people and being less selfish, they tell us.
Yeah, I know. I don't accept the existence of, guardian angels. Because, well, let's be honest, I mean, if there were guardian angels, we wouldn't be in the trouble that we're in now with Afghanistan and, you know...
Yeah, we're dealing with people...
And all the wars and that, you know...
Yeah, they eliminate anything to do with angels, devils, gods. We're dealing with people who are exactly the same as we are in the etheric world. And as you think, so you attract. If you think good thoughts, then you're going to attract good people. If you think rotten thoughts, then you'll attract the rubbish. It seems quite straightforward to me.
And so the interesting thing, you see, as far as I can understand, is this whole business... that we are this... Because science has changed remarkably in all forms over the last 50 years. I mean, you imagine a supersonic airliner speaking about that sort of, I don't know, in the 30s or so.
Yeah.
People wouldn't have believed you, probably. Or if maybe 10 years ago you said we'd all be walking around with personal communicators like we are now, people would have laughed, wouldn't they? So obviously science is changing.
Or radio and television. It's an incredible revolution. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't find it difficult to actually believe that there is a part of us that is... Because, as you say, we're made up of these particles that we can't actually see.
And we can now mark the work of our ancestors. 17 Saviour gods known to historians, and they all have the same story as Jesus. He was seen again after he was killed. All 17. And we can now mark it. They said, well, one of those disciples of his must have been a materialisation.
Okay. Michael in London, thank you for that. We'll take a break back after this.
Talk Sport Golfers on 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
James Webb Show on 1053, 1089 AM. James Webb Show.
Okay, you stay around a little bit longer just to prove the media is not totally against you. A lot of people want to talk to you. You stay around a bit longer, you all right?
I'll stay as long as you like.
Okay, right. Just before we go to the news, don't worry if you're holding on like Gary in Slough, Michael in London, Laura in Barnet and others. He'll be back. Just a couple of the emails coming in. This is nice. This is Whale, has the penny dropped? If so, are you scared? Do you still reject Christianity, Whale? Do you believe in heaven and hell? If so, will you reject the life you have led? The porn-peddling, immoral life you have revelled in? You have a lot to be ashamed of, Whale. You have spent much of your life rejecting Christian beliefs.
It's a very good point.
It's a very good point. Here's one says, James, imagine radio wavelengths. You can't see them, but they're still there. When you tune into one station, the other stations are still there.
All operating in the same space.
AM in Edinburgh. Franco from London says, I implicitly know that your guest is correct. I also had the unshakable feeling that one day, the day science realizes that time is merely a figment of our finite minds, that we will have unfettered access to our ethereal selves. What when this happens, the kingdom will have come on this earth as in heaven. I believe this will happen in the year 2828 at the very latest. Would your guests like to comment?
No, there's no time limit.
Michael, do you believe in collective unconscious disgust in Carl Jung's work?
No, I don't know. Let's keep it simple.
Okay, James, could you please ask your guest what his opinion of the Ouija board is, from Brendan in Stevenage?
Yes, well, that's a fact. They do actually work, and what you're doing is opening yourself up to anybody, especially the people closest to the Earth's vibrations, where all the rubbish goes. I was in the Navy doing national service, and they got around the frigate I was on. I knew something about this subject, and the Stokers mess had a Ouija board going, and they got in a terrible state, and somebody said, well, go and get Michaell Roll from the Seamen's mess, because he knows about this. And when I went down into the Stokers mess, they were in a panicking, and the dark glass was tearing around the table. They tuned into all the pirates on the Spanish Main, I think, and when I told them this, they were quite happy. They weren't frightened once I gave the rational explanation that as you're swearing away down here, you're attracting some rotten people, that's why.
Okay. Phil in Warwick says, fascinating, I'm going to be up all night doing coursework for tomorrow. You and Ash keep up the good work. Thank you, Phil in Warwick. Mr. Whale, do you and this station pick on this weakest in society? If it's not benefit cheats, what about City of London fraud, blah, 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 seeing that Jesus was crucified by the masses? Is it any surprise that the idiots who run and listen to this station, what a... Oh, God. When we talk about this, we do, all these religious nutcases come out of the closet. Can you talk about it?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
All these religions were invented by men who thought a red-hot ball of fire went round a flat Earth every day.
Back after the news.
An accident can...
AM Talk Sport.
Okay, welcome back. Good morning. The James Whale Show, currently on the air with Michaell Roll. Now, Michael's going to stay on. A lot of people want to talk to him. Michael has an organisation called the Campaign for Philosophical Freedom. He believes that he has proof, and the proof will be offered to the scientific world, and a number of scientists have already acknowledged the proof exists now and can be proved by repeatable experiments that life continues after death, that we have a body within our body, the soul, if you like, but it is made up from subatomic particles, that science is now changing and realizing exist. There's a sort of new science starting up. This is what the soul is created. Then this leaves and goes to the next level of existence. Am I
Into
right?
another wavelength, like that example of the radio stations, all operating in the same space.
Okay. So anyway, that's what we're talking about if you just joined us tonight. Michael himself is an atheist, doesn't believe in religion at all, in any shape or form. He believes that this just is a scientific fact that eventually will be known and will be just taken as part of...
Well, it is now. Because of the internet, it is. Everybody's coming with us. We're not having any opposition, apart from those who've got something to lose from it, which is a tiny percentage of the population.
Okay. Michael believes that people don't really, the people who run everything don't actually want you to know this. You can check out his website. It's www.cfpf.org.uk. Emails coming in. You can email us at talksport.net. David Shaw from Worcester says, absolute nonsense. Scientists threatening to kill you for challenging their ideas. I'm a molecular biologist, says David Shaw, and I know the scientific community. We like to be questioned because it keeps us in work, discovering new things and attempting to defend what we think is true. And what subatomic particles are you talking about? Leptons don't get any finer because they are waves for the most part. And we know about the interactions of quarks. And apart from the interactions that make up protons and neutrons, none of them last for more than thousandths of a second. Read some research from CERN. before you try to quote particle physics.
Yeah, well, he's quoting orthodox science, which is... but he's going to have to check out Pearson's work on my website, which is being peer-refereed and published by physicists. Not by me. It's nothing to do with me, the scientific
You're not
side.
a scientist. You're just
I'm an art student. I'm a student of history.
Right.
That's my But he's going to have...
You're just a John Doe who wants to get this through.
He better tell the Professor Peter Wadhams, a Cambridge physicist who came on with me on the Jeff Wrench show last November. We broadcast for 2 hours across the world. And Peter Wadhams...
That's what you're doing now. This is across the world.
That's right. Professor Peter Wadhams backed us to the hilt. That Sir William Crookes actually proved survival by repeatable experiments. And he says, I haven't had a chance to read Pearson's work yet, but it seems to make sense to me. Now, if this biologist better check it out first, before he starts mouthing off.
He's a molecular biologist, so he would know what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, he's a biologist. He's not a physicist.
Okay, so Dave, check out the website, which is www.cfpf.org.uk. Check it out. James, science says that 2/3 of the universe is made up of dark matter. Plus, they say we only use 30% of our brains. I don't think we use that much, actually.
Right, this is very important. That when Einstein's theory of relativity came on the scene in 1905, they did away with the ether. In effect, they did away with the spirit world. And we've got to bring back the ether now. They made a terrible mistake doing that. And they're bringing it back under a new name called the quantum energy of the vacuum. So, in effect, they're bringing it back. But they feel so embarrassed having got rid of it, they're having to bring it back under a new name. But it should be called the ether.
Okay, good. Let's take some calls. Michael, lots of Michaels around tonight in London. Hi, Michael, you're on the air.
Hello. Yeah, I wanted to bring up a subject that maybe isn't in Michaell Roll. Is it Michaell Roll's?
Roll, R-O-L-L, yes.
It might not be in your remit, so to speak. Aliens. Are there any people from or beings from other planets in the afterlife, or are they, in fact, already etheric anyway?
No, I think the orthodox scientist, Carl Sagan, for example, says, I reckon there must be at least 1 million inhabited planets in our galaxy alone. He's talking about the physical side. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Well, why people shouldn't be coming in from another solar system and another galaxy even.
But they would also live on different levels.
They would have etheric worlds, yes, indeed,
okay. All right, Michael.
And just another thing, the physicality thing interested me. Presumably they can turn themselves physical. How do they do that? Because you've touched some of them.
Oh, yes.
Some of the people have passed on.
and this has happened in the past, and our ancestors thought they were angels, devils, gods, or God, because they witnessed exactly the same thing as we did, because they're so solid and natural. We can now mark the way.
How do they do that, though? Do you know?
I don't know. No. We can only observe and report, James. We haven't got the answers to how they do it. But the fact is they do it, and they've been doing it for thousands of years.
Well, what do they say? I mean, when do people not want to find out what it is and try to explain it to you when they come back?
When we get one of these mediums, Professor Peter Wadhams will go in and he'll fire in all these questions, and when they publish, it's going to be reams of stuff. It's not just the infrared cameras and the filming you'll see. You'll have a full published account of what we've...
So because you've got a scientist, a respected scientist, this...
Professor Peter Wadhams, yes.
What you need now is a medium, and they're few and far between, apparently, Michael.
We want a fully developed one. We don't want one halfway through developing with trumpets flying about. They've got to have people fully materializing and walking around the room so we can catch hold of them.
And these sort of mediums are difficult to find?
Well, they're out there, but they're too frightened to come forward because they can be so easily killed. All you've got to do is grab hold of one of these materialized people, and like Helen Duncan, she was killed when that happened. By the police raid. They broke the doors down and...
Oh, you mean they didn't mean to? They went in and when you disturb a medium in that's
it.
Yes,
because they can be so easily killed, and that's why they're frightened to come forward, because they're frightened of being killed, you see.
All right, Michael, thank you for your call. Bye. Fascinating. Now, we've had Harrow School on this evening. I knew it wouldn't be long before somebody from Eton called in. Patrick?
All right.
Are you doing physics or...
Well, I'm doing theology, actually.
Even better, Patrick.
Well, I've just got two questions. First one is, well, you said that this world is... the other side is as physical as this world.
It is to them who are in it,
Yeah.
yes. They have different laws of physics, obviously.
But and therefore you have more sort of physical liberties because.
Well, they say they can change their bodies to be young and old.
And you can play better sports and variety of things.
Well, I expect I'll play off my handicap.
But if that's the case, why don't you just kill yourself? If it's so much better on the other side.
Because it's a good question, actually. Because
why don't you encourage? I mean, do you support and encourage death cult?
No, because as soon as you find out that it's a stone cold fact we survive death, you also take notice of what they tell us. They said if you do that, your motive is wrong. You're not going to get what you want.
What do you want, though?
Well, you want to be reunited with your loved ones for a start, and you won't get that if you kill yourself for the wrong motives. That's all. As you sow, so you will reap. There's nothing wrong with that philosophy. It's a good philosophy. If you do something stupid like that, you're not going to be reunited with your loved ones. You're going to have to suffer the sensation of time. You're going to have to wait.
But that's not very scientific, Michael.
No, but that's the hearsay we're talking about. I'm answering. He's got a legitimate point. I only go along with euthanasia in the end of a terminal illness when you're going through agony.
No, this is not euthanasia. This is suicide.
Yeah, I know. Well, I would never commit suicide knowing what I know for the wrong reasons, because you're liable for your actions. You're not going to get what you want if you go into the next world.
I mean, if this is such a scientific world, why is there retribution, and why is there this idea of punishment?
Well, it's not
if it's such a scientific world, why? I mean, are there ideas of morality there?
Yes, of course.
Are there ideas of duties and obligations towards each other?
Absolutely.
Are there relationships between people?
We only have to have the sexual relationships to make this world go round, the physical world. You don't have to have...
don't tell me there's no sex on the other side.
Oh, come on, please.
Well, we don't really need it, do you? Because you don't need...
So that's one of the best pleasures in life.
Well, maybe it's we'll have to wait. Well, we'll have to wait until we get there to find out if that's true.
See, the thing is...
If you take that sort of attitude, if we have to wait till we get there, then that just destroys your whole argument, because you have to wait till...
I'm trying to bring the scientists with me. If I start speculating on what it's like in the next world, they ain't going to be too happy. They're happy about repeatable experiments under laboratory conditions backed up by a mathematical theory, but if I start wobbling on about what they tell us in the next world, the scientists are going to be very upset. And I'm trying to bring the scientists with us.
Patrick, how does this sit with you studying theology? I mean, I don't know whether you're studying theology from a believer's point of view or not, but supposing it was proved that there is this body within us, if you like, that exists, which can only be found by maybe science that hasn't yet really fully developed, and that religion could be proved to be having just a sort of a human's view on what this all was.
Yeah.
Would you be upset about that? Would you feel that you've been sort of led down a blind alley, so to speak, by
religion?
Yeah.
No, not. I mean, not at all. I mean, I'm not a sort of
God botherer.
No. I mean, I take a sort of very objective.
Well, people like the former Bishop of Durham, Dr. David Jenkins, just destroyed all the doctrines and dogmas. There's no question of dead bodies leaping out of graves on Judgment Day. There's no book has divine authority. A virgin didn't give birth to the creator of the universe. He's destroyed all the old doctrines and dogmas.
Just with your point, the way that you say that you have experienced these things and you've had your tests and results done and you've written it all up.
Not
and
me.
You've recorded it.
International teams of scientists.
International teams, but in the same way, you can say the same thing has happened to the people who wrote the Bible as such.
No.
And this is just another speculation.
No, the people who wrote the Bible, these are people who thought a red-hot ball of fire went round a flat Earth every day. Any conclusions they came to have got to be looked at very carefully.
That was in their time. That was 2,000 years ago.
Yes, well, we don't go by what they say now.
But you can't. But in 2,000 years, people won't go by what you say now. They will look at your ideas as just another speculation as you look on the Bible is.
No, because these are repeatable.
That's a very good point that he makes, actually, Michael. Think about it. You see, 2,000 years ago, mankind was not as sophisticated as he is now. So these people who may have discovered or thought they discovered because there would have been presumably mediums and people then.
Yeah.
So they would have reported it, if you think about
That's
it,
right.
in the way that it's been reported in the Bible.
But we can now mark the work. We can say they're right there. They're right about us having a soul, but they're wrong about only Christians survive. We call a rest in peace waiting for Judgment Day. They're wrong there. We've improved. And don't forget, they also thought the world was flat. We now know for a fact it's round. Now, that's not going to change back to being flat again.
All right, it'll continue, this argument. Patrick, thank you for your call. Should you be up
Very much for your time.
Should you be up at this time, Patrick, really?
Oh, not really, no.
Patrick,
I
please.
stayed up especially for the show.
I don't want to get into trouble with your housemaster. Thank you. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Actually, that's one I should have asked him, shouldn't I, really? That's one of... we wanted to go and be invited to tea at Eton and Harrow, didn't we? Oh.
You are? I was just heard a security just popped in on me, sir.
Yeah. If you continue to be this, I'm going to have words with you in the
Where the
office
security
afterwards.
was in talking to me.
I said you and I would like to be invited to tea at Eton and Harrow, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely, man. Harrow, definitely. And Eton, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking for an invitation for afternoon tea.
Tea and crumpets.
No, I tell you, one of my, as somebody who was sort of flung out of school and never got any qualifications, one of my biggest excitements was taking part in debates at Oxford and Cambridge. Actually, Oxford and Cambridge should be doing this as a debate. You'd be very good if they'd enjoy
Well,
that.
we've got these two Cambridge physicists who've joined us.
We'll take a break. We'll be back after this.
On 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Okay, now let me just remind you later tonight, the show... I shall be talking to the British company director and the American porn stars who want to bring full frontal nudity and explicit pornography to our television screens, much to the disgust of the moral campaigners. But of course now with the World Wide Web it's almost impossible to keep stuff off, and with digital television, of course, it'll be, of course, I'm afraid sex will be the making of digital TV. It'll get everybody to take it up, I can guarantee. But we'll be talking to these people tomorrow night, and if you are easily offended and upset by this sort of thing, please do not tune in. And nobody at Harrow or Eton, please. Doris, Whitley Bay. Hi, Doris.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How's yourself?
Yeah, good.
Good. I just wish to say that I'm a great believer in the hereafter. As a matter of fact, I have had 3 people manifest in my bedroom. One was a gentleman, I didn't know him, and I could describe him. He had lovely face, silvery hair, pale blue and white striped shirt on, and he just gave me a lovely smile and shimmered, more or less shimmered away.
A lot of people have had this experience,
Yeah,
Doris, but
yeah.
the point is, if I was next to you, I probably wouldn't have seen what you saw. You were seeing him, what's known as an etheric eye. But with a materialization medium, everybody witnesses the same thing. That's the difference.
Well, this probably could have been, because this person, I could have got up and touched them. I could have, they were so real.
Yeah, well, a lot of people who see with the etheric eye feel that, but if there was a friend with you in the room, that would be the acid test to find out whether they saw it or not.
Have you ever had a friend who saw this with you or not?
No, but I have a friend, a spiritualist.
Yeah.
And actually, you have a dog, you say. Well, the dogs are very psychic. Did you know?
Yeah.
My little dog one night ran up to the wall, put his feet on the wall, looked up, and he whimpered. And I said to him, "What's the matter?" And I knew. And his eyes straight across. And he ran across the room, jumped up at the piano stool because he couldn't get any further into the corner, whimpered again. I've had quite a few experiences. I've actually had my mother. And I've actually had my mother speak to me in her own voice. As plain as I heard her in life.
Well, you'll be pleased to hear that millions have had the same experience,
Yeah.
Doris, and we're just giving the scientific backup to the what
Yeah,
we're saying.
but I certainly think there is definitely something hereafter.
Well, the difference is you believe, I accept it as a stone-cold scientific fact.
Yes, I do.
I've eliminated the word belief from my vocabulary.
Well, I know a lot of people don't believe in it, you know. They think it's
I don't want anybody to believe in it. I want them to check it out and
I
accept
do.
it or reject it, one of the two.
Oh, yes, I do. I say there is definitely something hereafter.
How often does this happen to you, Doris?
quite a lot. Actually, I play the piano, and I know when I go to my piano when my mother's there. I always know when my mother's there.
Because
or when she's
that bond of love can't be broken, you see.
No.
Your mother takes just as much interest in you now as she did when she was on Earth.
Yes. Well, actually, the night she died, she took a heart attack, and before she took it, I said to her, I had an idea. She was, heading that way. She had angina. And I said, if you don't stay in bed, no, you'll go and leave me.
Well,
she said, I'll never leave you, darling. I'll never leave you. And she hasn't.
We're only here for a very short space of time. It's a very short space of time. The real world is the next world, not this one. It's just something we're passing through. It's a finite world.
Oh, yes. It's, I know an awful lot of people don't believe in it, but I certainly think there is a life
Belief doesn't
hereafter.
come into it. You accept it or reject it. But you can't accept it or reject it unless you have access to it.
No.
All right, Doris, thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
a lot. Bye. Do you ever worry, Michael, perhaps that you are maybe giving people, or some people might find what you're saying quite worrying? I mean, be frightened of it in some way because they haven't had these experiences and think, oh God, well, why haven't my loved ones come back and seen me?
Well, the alternative to what I'm saying is resting in peace in the ground waiting for Judgment Day, or when you're dead, you're dead. I'm giving tremendous hope to people. And all I'm asking is for them to check it out, and if they don't like it, go back to what they thought before. But you've got to find that medium if you want to make contact. But sooner or later, the science is going to get it, so you'll be able to phone up your grandma and dead mum. That's going to come later.
Okay, let's go to Mid-Wales and speak to Annie. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, James.
Hi.
I had an experience. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
This is something that happened to me in the 70s. It was obviously a long time ago. I was ill, and my father used to come in every day and have his lunch with me. And a particular day, I waited for him, and the time got on, and I thought, well, he's obviously not coming. So I went and made myself a cup of tea, went in the living room, and a few minutes later, he come through the door, and he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really late, and sat down, and I talked to him, and I said, did he want a cup of tea? And he said, no, I haven't got time. And the next minute, he jumped up and went. And I thought, well, that's odd. Never thought any more about it. And he phoned me up in the evening to say he was sorry that he couldn't come to see me.
Oh.
But I was obviously very, very took back. So I said to my father, could I just speak to my mum? So he said yes. So my mum come to the phone, and I said to my mum, is my dad still in his working clothes? So she said yes. So I said, has he got this, that, and the other on? So she said, yes, why? And I said, well, it doesn't really matter. I said, I was just so took back and so shocked. And I just sort of left it at that. But my dad, evidently, I did speak to him at a later date, because he come obviously a couple of days later, because he had got a job that took him away, and he said to me he was asleep at the time. Have you ever actually heard of this before happening?
I've heard of many stories very similar to this, but I honestly can't say we've got any scientific explanation.
I spoke to him.
You sure he might have thought he was sleeping and could have been sleepwalking and...
No, he was miles away.
No, there's an awful lot we don't know the answers to, but I'm just pushing forward what's been proved but suppressed. It opens up a whole new ballgame.
I said to my husband when he come home from work, this is before my father phoned, I said, my dad was really strange today. I said, he ran in, I said, he sat down, I said, he wouldn't have a cup of tea. I said, the next minute he ran out. I said, it seemed odd at the time.
And how many miles was he supposed to be away?
Only 7-8 miles away.
So he could have come. He could have been in a trance state.
Well.
And he could have, like a sleepwalker, and for some reason some people can do this.
No, I spoke to my dad after this happened, and I sort of said to him, well, you're not going to believe me. But obviously something strange happened, and he said that he was at work and he was very upset because he couldn't get in touch with me to let me know that he couldn't come. And he had sat down and obviously was dozing, and one of his work
say is that many people have had that experience, but we haven't got anything on the scientific side to back it up yet.
Well, I don't think you're going mad anyway, Anne.
Well, no, well, obviously not, but it was definitely my dad, and my dad is still alive
Do they
now.
call it a doppelganger or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe.
I mean, I obviously don't just, you know, like, I obviously told my dad, my husband, because I didn't know my dad wasn't there, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's always been an absolute mystery.
But I'm just specialising on one thing, what's been proved, and mathematical backup.
Well, you see, what I'm saying is, if this happened to someone that is living, then it must be able to happen when we're gone.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is, though, if this body within us, if you like, this body that we're talking about that is made up of
finer subatomic particles.
Finer subatomic particles can get out of the body when our physical body dies, then from time to time it can, for whatever reason, I mean, sometimes when people are sleeping they have out-of-body experiences. I mean, I've had people on this program talk about psychic flying and all, you know, sort of...
Yeah, well, I have.
And maybe that's what...
Well, millions have had out-of-body experiences.
I have experienced.
Well, we're giving the scientific backup. Well, that's the etheric body separating for a short while, but not making a complete break, you see.
Yeah, could be. All right, Anne, thanks for your call. Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Let's go to Russell in Aberdeen. Russell.
Good morning, James.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Michael.
Hello, Russell.
I've spoken to you last year, I think.
Oh, yeah?
I phoned in then. I've got a different query tonight. Is there any link between homeopathy and your studies at all?
Well, I think there is perhaps a tenuous link, but I wouldn't like to go into too details because I haven't studied homeopathy, but it seems very interested, and it's certainly upset the orthodox scientists. Ben Venister, he's the chap, isn't he, that James Randi went and tried to destroy. In fact, he did, actually, because his laboratory in France was closed down.
Really?
Yeah, it was a terrible do.
Yeah. When was that?
About 10 years ago, I think it was.
Right.
Professor Ben Venister, a very nice homeopathic scientist. And James Randi went over there with the editor of the Nature magazine, Dr. Maddox, and they ripped him apart, and he lost his grant and everything.
Yeah. No, I just had read something similar, so I was just wondering if you knew any more.
No, I haven't studied homeopathy.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
For listening.
Okay, mate.
Bye.
Bye. Nearly time to take a break. Let me just remind, nothing to do with this. This is a commercial now, just so you know. You can get your favourite TalkSport presenter to read answers for your mobile phones, of course. Very popular. If you want to check this out, you can call 0906 111 6042, or check out our website at talksport.net and click on ringtones to get your favourite presenter's voice on your phone. Of course, yours truly is the bestseller so far. To be fair, help out my poor old colleagues and call 0906 111 6042. You could get Tommy Boyd doing the message on your mobile phone. Or, even more excitingly, you could get Mike Dickin. If you really wanted to be a martyr, you could have Ian Collins. So if you're interested in getting one of the TalkSport presenters to do a new answer phone message for your mobile phone, call us on 0906 111 6042, or check out the TalkSport website and click on ringtones.
And he loves the bones of you, and he's blowing you a spiritual kiss, so you're getting a beautiful spiritual kiss.
Yes, from our medium, Derek Akora, soon to be back on the show. Speaking tonight with Michaell Roll, who has devoted at least the last 20, 25 years, if not his whole life, to proving the existence of the continuation of life that has nothing to do with religion. Right, we'll carry on taking the calls, I think, because there are so many. Alex in Tring, you're on the air. Hi, Alex.
Hello, James. Quick question for Michael.
Yep.
Yes, Alex.
I've been listening to the show so far. It's fascinating. I was just wondering whether his researchers have come up with any connection with the search for zero-point energy.
Oh, I don't know. You have to ask the scientists about that. Don't forget, I'm on the arts side. But when you look at my website, you'll see all the scientific work there, so you can fire in the technical stuff to Ron Pearson.
Yeah, does the talk of all these people being in a higher wavelength sounds very much like they're actually mental. They're mentally sort of forming stuff out of the quantum flux energy and interacting with our universe from a dimension other than the four that we live in.
What are you talking about?
Well, all I'm excited about is that dead children have been reunited with their mums. That's more important than the technical side of it, I think.
Well, Alex, I think I must point out, I'm not doing this well, that Michael is just the sort of PR man for this, if you like.
Oh, right.
He's not a scientist. He just has studied it, he believes in it, and he gets scientists together to talk about it, to do experiments, and hopefully before too long he will be able to get the actual tangible proof that they need and feel. A lot of these scientists now working in this strange sort of subatomic particle or whatever seem to feel that there is something here that they can actually get their teeth into.
We're only going to repeat the experiments, but with modern, sophisticated recording equipment. That's the big thing we've got now, you see. Infrared cameras, laser cameras.
But, I mean, the thing, of course, is, Alex, that even seeing this on film, we'll still think the film was doctored or there was some sort of way of doing it.
Oh, no, because it'd be presented by a Nobel laureate for physics. You've got to wait for him to die before you attack him, otherwise he'll sue the pants off you.
Okay.
If I did it, they'd go mad.
Yeah.
But these will be recently deceased, internationally famous people being reunited with their loved ones.
All right.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but Alex, it's all... I don't understand a word of it, Alex, but obviously you seem to understand more than me.
Okay,
Thank you for
very
that.
much,
Bye. Let's talk to Ian in Bangor in Wales. And a lot of calls from Wales. Must be a very popular subject in Wales. Ian, you're on the air.
Hello, James.
Hi.
It's just about suicide, and a friend of mine went to prison not long ago, and for stealing cars, and he committed suicide. Like, he was coming out on the Monday morning, and apparently he committed suicide on the Saturday night.
Oh gosh.
And I wanted to get in touch with this person, like, because we went to primary school together. We basically grew up together. It's like me, him, and another lad, and we sort of lost contact. And I wondered, like, is there any way, apart from, like, the Ouija board, and, like, summon the dead?
Yeah. I wouldn't use the Ouija board because you're opening yourself up to rubbish. But if you can come across a really good medium via the spiritualist meeting places, try it. It's all done free of charge in there. And if you can make contact, perhaps. But a lot of the general standard of mediumship isn't very good. Not like Doris Collins and Doris Stokes. These are the top ones. And Stephen O'Brien, I've seen him demonstrate. He's absolutely brilliant. He gets the full names of the people in the next world. And
but it was neither one that didn't do himself any favours on television.
No, it's hopeless to go on television.
Is it?
But when you do a private one-to-one, sometimes he's very good. But it's hit and miss. With the following week, he went to Bath, and he told me he didn't get anything through. So he's asking a lot. You see, in Bristol, he was brilliant when he demonstrated. When he went to Bath the following week, he didn't get much through.
Okay. All right, Ian, thank you for your call. You'll have to try or call in when we have Derek Akora on the show. Josie and Ken. Hi, Josie, you're on the air.
Good evening, James. I love the show. Loved you and Ash.
Thank you, Josie.
I'm glad to hear your health is good.
Thank you.
Good evening, Michael.
Yeah,
Brilliant
I tell you
programme.
what, James is looking much fitter than when I was here last June. I'm very pleased to see he's looking a different man.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. We all love him and Ash very, very dearly. Love his show. Listen every night.
He's not frightened of the establishment. He's given me a platform.
Oh, really? Anyway, I've actually seen a trance medium. She wasn't quite as clever as what you said about spirits walking around the room, but her transformation was absolutely brilliant, and it was a group of about 30 people.
I think you're talking about a transfiguration.
Oh, she was absolutely brilliant. And,
hang on, just so we all know what we're talking about here. This is a medium that actually her own physical appearance changes to that of the person she is. Yeah.
If I can tell you a quick story, James and Michael. I was adopted as a child, and my adopted mother was a right bitch. Used to beat me terribly, etc., etc. Had a wonderful adopted dad, but I actually met my real mother before she passed over, but never met my real father. But I did have a photograph of him, and through this situation, my real mother came in first, and which was very, very loving, and and brilliant.
Did she give you special codes that only you and your mother know?
Yes, she did.
That's very
Yes.
important.
Yes, she did. But when my adopted mother came through, apparently I was so frightened, and the fear of the child came right back into me, and she actually tried to cut my face with her hands, and I actually jumped back in the chair that I was sitting in, and then my adopted dad came in, which was very, very loving, and then my real father came in. And it was absolutely amazing. She is a very, very clever lady, and
was the Transfiguration medium actually speaking to you as well?
yes, and she was. It was actually the person who she was my mum.
Who was the medium?
Her name is Jean, and she's from up north somewhere.
Jean Skinner?
That's her.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Oh, she's brilliant, and really, I wasn't going to say her surname because.
Well, you'll be pleased.
What you said about the
you'll be
guessing.
pleased to hear the spiritualist movement know I'm looking for one of these great
She's
mediums.
absolutely brilliant.
And the president of the SNU phoned me up and told me about Jean Skinner.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. I've seen her 3 times now, Michael, and.
Well, I don't think we should have mentioned her name, really.
Well, I only
because she's a
mentioned Jean.
professional medium, yes. Well, she's
Michael
quite
who said her
famous.
surname.
And she appears regularly in Psychic News, so
Oh, definitely.
No, I mean, you know, if she was going to be useful to help you see.
Oh, no, I turned her down because we've got to have a materialization medium, which is even better than the medium in the film Ghost that Whoopi Goldberg played.
Oh, right.
Yeah, a materialization medium takes no part in the experiment whatsoever.
So this, what you're looking for is a medium which just sits in the corner.
A totally passive instrument.
Through this person,
in the vicinity of the person.
Yeah, these beings come from the
That's
other
right,
side,
yes.
and they look and feel that you can touch
Yes,
them.
I hope the spiritualists didn't think I'd let them down, but you must be specific on the sort of medium.
Go on.
I did actually touch my mum, and I hugged my dad, James.
Oh, so they actually did come through rather than just her.
Yes, I mean, she was sitting in a chair, but I actually stood up and hugged my dad, and there was a tear on his face, and I felt it wet on my face.
Well, this seems more than a materialization, more than a transfiguration medium.
She was absolutely superb, absolutely. I mean, and I've seen her twice since then. She's not actually read for me, but for people who I know of loved ones who have passed over.
So you actually touched your
Oh,
father?
yes, I hugged my dad, and a tear came on his face, and it touched my face.
Oh dear, yes. I shouldn't have mentioned the name.
I don't know whether it wasn't a breath on my neck, but it was a warmth on my neck from his mouth.
She's probably developed
when
from
you
a
hug
transfiguration to a materialization.
You know when you hug someone and you can feel that warmth.
Could you smell? Could you smell as well?
Oh yes, definitely. It was my dad's smell.
Because when my dad materialized, I smelt his heavy drinker, heavy smoker. He brought his earthly smells with him.
He had a very sweet smell about him. I mean, he would have been 100 and odd by now if he was still alive, but that lovely sweet smell that he always smelled of was there.
Well, he's still very much alive.
And it's a beautiful program. I love it, and I wish we could get some of this literature you're on about.
Right, I'll go back to the spiritualists and see if I can
James, could you
contact
please give the, what's the name off again, the WWF?
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute.
Thank you, James.
All right.
Brilliant show. Love you tons.
Bye, Josie.
God bless. Bye.
Bye-bye. The double. Do you know, I've just remembered as well, it's funny how these things, I've got to call Jake the Snake. I must do it this week, and if you're listening, Jake, I'm sorry I haven't. I will. I'm sorry. Just reminded me, the WWF. But it's actually, if you want to check out Michael's website about these things, and you'll probably understand more about it than me, www.cfpf, C for Charlie, F for Freddy, P for Percy, F for Freddy, .org.uk. Gary, just before we go to these, let's just a couple of your emails coming through. Talksport.net, if you want to email us. Are you proud of what you want to achieve with it, whether you are or not, having put up with it for so long? I'm going to need some good support to recover from. I don't know what that's all about. This man, here we are. This is from a man who says he is a Christian who believes in the Bible.
Yes, ma'am.
You are evil.
Yeah.
He doesn't fool me. If you reject Jesus, the Son of God, you are complete and utter evil bar steward. This fraud has done this. He rejects Jesus. Reject this man. So we're rejecting you for that.
Okay.
Richard Smith from Brighton says, James, just like to say, listen, I'm on my way to work. Thank you. Good. Knowing that we do... What on earth? just strange. You do attract some strange ones, I must
That's why I
admit.
want to go back and play golf.
Yeah, I know. This is Wendy, who says, I was listening to your show earlier about life after death, but I missed the email address. It'd be very much appreciated if you could forward it to me. Well, I'm going to actually read it out again. This is Wendy from Los Angeles, and another one from, so I've just done it anyway, so everybody knows.
Had 30,000 hits after the Jeff Rance one.
Did you?
Maybe if we're going across the world, we'll get the same sort of response.
You never know. There's Jesus Before Miracles. What has this geek ever done except talk crap? This is another one who's getting upset.
Well, Jesus isn't even historical. Not a historical character.
Life after death is a very comforting thought and needed by most people. What's more, it controls the masses. P.S. Question to your guest. He said it's continually light, in this place. How about the bats and all the other nocturnal animals, or do they not qualify?
We must never be frightened to say, I don't know.
All right, that's fair enough. You don't know the answer to that one. Anyway, there are loads more. We'll go back to those in a moment. Gary in Slough, you're on the air through to Michaell Roll.
Hello there.
Gary.
I mean, I'm a complete atheist. I probably have been since I was a child.
And that atheist means we flatly refuse to worship anything or anybody.
And I can see I can understand what you're saying. I can understand about the scientific community completely dismissing it, because I don't know if you've read a book by Graham Hancock called Kingdom of the Gods.
No.
Where he challenges a lot of the historical facts about Egyptology. And it's much the same thing. If you decide to challenge some of the theories, you're decried, and it's as if it's cast in stone. There's no, they're completely unbending.
Well, that's what orthodox science is, with the Big Bang. They start from the Big Bang as if it's, that's it.
Right.
And what would tell you if you challenge it?
The flaws in your argument are that it seems a bit... you seem to have an answer for every single question.
No, I just said I don't know, didn't I? I just said I don't know.
A lot of the callers that have called in have said, what about this? And you seem to have an answer. You seem to have too many answers to the questions. I don't think there's any doubt that religion, the way it's portrayed, in any type of religion, there's more proof that it doesn't exist than it does.
Well, they're claiming their books have divine authority. That's what we're challenging as atheists.
That's right. But these people that these materialistic, the people materialisation mediums, don't they get absolutely driven mad? I mean, if these people are appearing, or they can appear at will, I mean, don't they get driven mad?
No, this woman I was dealing with sat 3 times a week. She sat for about 4 hours at a time. She was in a deep trance, didn't know anything about it.
I mean, for me, personally, I've never wanted there to be something after death.
Oh, well, I want to be reunited with my mum and dad.
Because I can't think of anything more horrible than, I'm 41 this year, and the thought of, if I died tomorrow, touch wood I don't, if I did, the thought of me looking down, my wife meeting someone else and my kids being with someone, that would be the most terrible thing imaginable for me.
You'd want to see your kids grow up, surely.
I don't think I would, actually.
Well, I would.
Oh, for goodness sake, Gary, get a grip, mate.
Oh, no, James.
No, Gary, if
you honestly think of anything worse, right, than... if you're a relatively young man and you go to this other place and you're watching
Gary,
your wife and kids grow up,
Gary,
I can't think of anything worse.
Listen to me very carefully, Gary. A couple of years ago, I thought I was going to die.
I remember that, yeah.
And, I've had an operation for cancer. I live with this thing continually. And if I went tomorrow... I would hope that Melinda would find somebody. I'm sure she'd find somebody else. She's a good-looking, foxy babe.
I can understand that.
And she would be very happy, as when my dad died, my mum did. It would be too awful to say that if you anything, you would hope
I would want my wife to meet someone. There's no question about that. I'm not being selfish in that respect.
Yeah. So
the point I'm making is that for people to say, oh, you're up in heaven or wherever you choose this place to be, looking down. I play golf as well. I love playing golf.
So do I.
The thought of
Yeah, but you
me
won't-
looking down, watching everyone else play golf.
You apparently will have a lot of other things to take your mind off this.
Apparently they play golf in the
Yeah.
ex-Eric War as well. So you've got that to look forward to.
Does the ball go any further?
Probably not.
Apparently you play off. If you're a good golfer, you're a good golfer in the next one.
Oh,
Thank you, Gary. Don't worry about it, honestly.
But there's no bunkers.
No bunkers.
There are.
Yeah. If you have a disability in this world, you go on to the next world. Are those all?
Ah, yes. The physical disabilities, purely the physical. The etheric body is absolutely perfect. No disease or anything in the next world.
Okay. Have you heard of Colin Fry?
Yes, I mean, I've been on the platform with Colin Fry, yeah.
All right, okay. Well, there's a Neville Wilson from Selly Oak in Birmingham said you should get him. Back after these words.
Talks the UK's best sports radio station. Talk Sport.
James Well.
Just in case you thought we were getting too serious, it's a joke, there'll be filth on the programme tomorrow night. If you're easily offended, tomorrow night's show is not one for you. Nicholas Wesley tells me he's just come back from a pub crawl in Ewell Village and a tikka afterwards. You know, it takes me back to my youth. I was born in Ewell Village. You won't know.
Where's that?
It's just in sort of 25 miles south of London, really.
Oh.
And
There was no chicken tikka in your day.
no, there was no. Well, in my day, there was no. You know,
Sausage
people.
and chips.
When I was young,
Eels and...
we had Wimpies,
Yeah, Wimpy.
and that was it, man.
Yeah.
That was it. We had Wimpies, yeah, and the coffee bar,
Yeah.
and the girls in the skirts, and they used to wear suspenders in my day.
Yeah, lovely, wasn't it?
Let's get out of this. Get our minds out of the gutter. Sally in Roehampton, you're on the air. Hi, Sally.
Hello. James, aren't you afraid if you say, putting filth on the jolly old telephones, that means you're polluting thousands of minds? What will happen when you go over, James? I'm so terrified.
Thank you, Sally. Bob, there's some funny nuts around, aren't there? I'm sort of really worried about some of these people who listen to me. Bob, who's somewhere on the M25. Hi, Bob.
Morning, James.
Hi.
You do get them sometimes, don't you?
I do, really. Yeah. I think some people understand surely where I'm coming from. But anyway, yes, Bob.
Judge, I don't know, I know this probably isn't your cup of tea, because being a non-television man, but there's a chap that's been on the TV at lunchtimes that's called John Howard, that does a programme called Crossing Over. It's an American programme.
It's on what?
John Howard,
Yeah.
the guy's name is, and he stands in front of the TV audience and just like he pinpoints a particular part of the audience. He says, I feel that this person is coming through, and he gives...
Yeah, well, you've heard Derek Acora on this show, have you, or not? You haven't, possibly.
Pardon?
Have you heard Derek Acora?
No.
No, well, it's the same thing. We have Derek on this show, a couple of times a year, and
Right.
he does the same stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
These people are only copying me.
He's very clever. I mean, he goes through third generation of family, this chap. And it's quite an eye-opener, really. I mean...
The problem, listen, I tell you what the problem is with a lot of these mediums. Not Derek Acora, because, he loves me, but a lot of them get a bit starstruck, and they suddenly think they're in the world of entertainment. And start charging an enormous amount of money from people. And I think this is a bit of a worry.
Especially if they're grieving people. It's... fraudulent medium, you can report them to the spiritualist and they'll come down on them like a ton of bricks.
Okay, Bob, thanks for that.
Okay, then, all the best.
Thanks a lot. We're running out of time, sadly. A couple more calls. Harry in London.
Hello, James.
Oh, Harry's a London cabbie. Be careful.
Hello, Harry.
We know everything. Michael.
Yes, mate.
What I'm hearing from you, it doesn't seem to be any different to what the religious people say. There's this sort of utopia of afterlife and how wonderful it is, and
Well, it's not a utopia if you've been a rotten character, apparently.
even that side of it, Michael, because even that sounds like hell.
Well,
even if it's your own hell, but
I'm not saying the religionists are all wrong. They're right about us having a soul, you see, and they're right about if you've done rotten things, you ain't going to be mixing with good people.
what about? Who decides
You do. You are your own judge and jury. Nobody judges you. You judge yourselves.
So, I mean, what I'm saying is, at what point are you deemed evil? I mean, what if you were bad all your life and then, you know, you turn good?
Well, that's great. Then somebody will help you once you're in the next world. They'll never let you down. If you're going to do a U-turn and start to improve yourself, apparently they tell us that you'll never be alone.
And this is not by some single creator or anything?
No, I never come across that. I just come across people that our ancestors mistook for... A lot of people who come through pretend to be God. I mean, they've done it with me. They've said, Michael, God here. I said, on your bike, piss off. I'm the Queen of Sheba. And they do. If you tell them to shove off, they push off. But in the past, when somebody said they were God, our ancestors believed them. They thought
You see, you're hoping to meet your father and I assume your grandfather. What about your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather? I mean, you won't even know who they are.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in watching Bradman's innings. They say everything is recorded on time, so I can see Bradman scoring his runs at Lord's.
Oh, right, okay.
But that's what they tell us. We'll have to wait until we get there.
To each their own. To each their own.
Yeah.
Harry, listen, I'm running out of time, mate. You take it easy.
All the best, James.
All right, thanks a lot. Michael, believe it or not, 2 hours completely gone, just like that. Thank you very much indeed. Now, when we meet again, you'll be even further along the line of proof, won't you?
So much has happened since we last talked, yeah.
Yeah. People want to check this out and want to find out whether they think he's completely deluded or a genius. And people think both those things about you, don't they, Michael? Yeah. Check out Michaell Roll's website, www.cfpf.org.uk. Michael, thanks very much indeed. I'm sure we will talk again in the fullness of time. Ian Collins is next. We are back tomorrow night, or tonight now, with information about a company in this country that's trying to bring American porn to your screens. Of course, I shall be saying it's disgusting, and not wanting to have anything to do with it. Steve Strange, an old friend of mine, you, I'm sure, will be aware of. Steve Strange is on the show Thursday night. And the lovely Anne-Marie from The Blue Whale, my last TV series, which I think repeats are going out of at the moment. That's it. I'm James Well. Keep it Talk Sport until 5 this morning with the recorded highlights, and then back tonight at 10. I'll see you then. Bye.